Hello, welcome to this update for the Atlantic. So we still have the remnants of Oscar there. So some hours ago it was still a tropical storm, so still show the tropical storm Oscar here. So it just downgraded now to remnants, but a moment ago it was tropical storm. So let's see here, but there are still some. They don't have the warnings anymore because it's dead, but there's still some tropical storm force winds in the southern Bahamas there, and and still some rainfall potential close to 50 to 100 millimeters in those areas. They still say localized flash flooding possible today across the southeastern Bahamas and Turks and Caicos, islands with rainfall easing across Cuba and flooding from rainfall which has already occurred should remain a concern next several days in Cuba. Tropical storm conditions are expected in parts of southeastern Bahamas today, so be aware there. Y hoy serán posibles inundaciones repentinas localizadas a través del sueste de los Bahamas y las Turks and Caicos, las islas, con la disminución de la lluvia en toda Cuba. Las inundaciones por la lluvia en Cuba que ya han ocurrido podrán seguir siendo una preocupación en los próximos días. Se esperan condiciones de tormenta tropical en porciones sueste de los Bahamas hoy. Good, so stay safe there still. This is still like dumping some heavy rain, some stronger wind. So this is the satellite, shows most of the convection is in the ocean already, but it does show still storm or two in the Turks and Caicos. It does show some showers there in the Turks and Caicos, but especially in the Bahamas, there's still those tropical storm force winds. There's the low pressure center now. You see the wind spinning here, so does show some more storms near the Turks and Caicos still, but the Bahamas in terms of rainfall doesn't show much more. There's the rain accumulation next 5 days. It shows mostly in the Turks and Caicos, shows some showers in the Bahamas, but shows mostly the Turks and Caicos. They still have here like the rainfall potential 4+ inches in the Bahamas, but most models are showing the Turks and Caicos. But be aware in all those areas, close to 70 millimeters in the Turks and Caicos. And Cuba in the next 5 days showing some 53 millimeters, parts of the eastern coast, and some showers in the northwestern part of Cuba and northern Cuba. So maybe a storm or two, but mainly some showers. So be aware those areas. Then this will go towards Bermuda there, shows some wind and heavy rain parts of Bermuda. From this goes there, so it starts like today's Tuesday. Wednesday there'll be already some rain in Cuba, especially Wednesday night, late Wednesday there'll be some really rough conditions there, and then it goes away. There's the European model too, shows it there now, the rain approaching Bermuda and the wind. The European has the worst rain to the west of Bermuda, so but it does have some more wind and rain Bermuda as well. Be careful there. The icon has also this going towards Bermuda, some heavy rain and gusty wind, so stay safe in those areas. So here, North Atlantic. Let's just see the impacts a little bit more for Bermuda and then the further outlook. So there's the European shows more than 79 millimeters in Bermuda, 77, so there'll be the heavier rain there. From this, be aware of some spots of potential flash flooding. Shows there northern Bermuda that the GFS is more than some 82 millimeters according to the GFS. It has some 83 millimeters in Hamilton and some other areas, so they have to be aware. The arc was 98 millimeters in Bermuda, so yeah, be aware that there's the wind gusts. The worst wind is further south still, so there's still some very gusty winds in the Bahamas, the European showing, and then the show digs down a little bit more, but this was a little bit earlier today, but still some gusty winds at Turks and Caicos too, and then this starts going towards Bermuda here. Already shows some 49 kilometer per hour gust in Bermuda. Then this comes like Wednesday, shows it approaching there like Wednesday afternoon, more than like 64 kilometer per hour gust. Then later, like in the late morning, show more than 72 kilometer per hour gusts. Bermuda starting the afternoon. It already shows like 77, 75 km per gusts in Bermuda. So be careful with loose objects, some trees, and maybe some high waves and minor coastal flooding. So be careful. Those winds increase like at night, shows like some 81 km per gusts in Bermuda. So be careful, and those winds continue until generally until Friday. And then the GFS has this too. It has some moments of 75 to 81 km per gusts, and the icon has like uh, has a going there, but the icon doesn't have much over Bermuda. It has more around it. But be careful there with the rain and gusty winds. So here, let's see now. We are still expecting uh, more activity on the Caribbean in the end of October, November. So let's see if they have any outlooks here for that. But generally, so this is week 2, October 30th to November 5th. So they do have a 40% chance or more of tropical cyclone development in parts of the Caribbean, even in the Atlantic near the main development region, some 20%, on the Eastern Pacific to 20%. So, but that they are in the Central Western Caribbean, 40% or more of tropical cyclone development. Could see some bigger systems there. So definitely we are watching there. In week 3 until November 12th, still shows a 20% chance of tropical development there. So be aware, especially from October 30th to November 5th. And then like here, they still have the forecast for the favorable environment there. So now it's on the Western Pacific. We have all those typhoons there, so it's very strong there. It doesn't show coming as strong into the Atlantic. It only shows some minor greens, but already those light greens there are very much enough for development. There could be some big seasons because now we have Oscar, and Oscar is practically an unfavorable environment now because it's yellow. So imagine when we have green. So this is coming in the very last days of October and November, and yeah, and later shows some unfavorable environment near India and the Western Pacific, but later it kicks up near the Indian Ocean again, so we'll watch that. But have to be aware there. So here, the European ensembles, next 240 hours, there's Oscar and some other low pressure systems, but in the next 240 hours, it has some members showing stuff near Honduras and Nicaragua. You can see some members there showing some tropical depression, tropical disturbance strength. So we better watch very close to Central America there. And in the Western Caribbean, so the European still has little support, but the GFS has like, where is it here? So the GFS next, that's 300 hours, Burgess 240. So the GFS does have more support there. It has like some members showing orange and yellow, close to tropical storm, hurricane strength. It has some members going back east into the Caribbean. It has another one passing Cuba, but the general area of more concerns like the Central Western Caribbean there, where there's more support near Jamaica too, many areas. So we will monitor closely those areas, and until 336 hours, it already has some more members near Cuba, some very strong members near the Cayman Islands, the Bahamas, but it's nearly like 3 weeks out, so don't trust the GFS that far out in time. But let's see, there's the tropical storm probabilities from the European. It does shows Oscar there, and the remnants of this might eventually hit parts of Atlantic Canada there, especially on Friday with some heavy rain and gusty winds. So we'll monitor that. And then this is October 30th already. Doesn't show anything yet. The 31st, and then by November 1st, the already start showing some 5 to 10% tropical storm probabilities near Honduras and Nicaragua. Shows some random stuff in the Atlantic. Then by November 3rd, still shows a 10 to 20%. That's small, but the European isn't very excited. It's not showing much, but that's tropical storm, tropical depression probabilities. So there's also There are some tropical waves near South America, but those ones won't develop. They're too close to the equator, and does show like the 26th to 27th. It shows this random stuff near Panama and Colombia, but stuff don't usually develop that far south. But we'll watch that as well. It does get all the way to 70% tropical depression probabilities just north of Colombia, but there's usually a glitch in the models near northern South America. But would have to be aware. And then by October 30th, shows more near Nicaragua, Honduras, but nothing crazy. The Europeans not very excited with this, but we'll keep monitoring. And here's Oscar. The remnants of Oscar are near the Bahamas, should pass by Bermuda, and then affect Atlantic Canada there. So it's still tropical storm strength. The models keep showing tropical storm strength until some 84 hours, and then it might weaken. So, and there's like the operational models. The icon has Oscar goes there, and after that still has a lot of moisture near Central America, but nothing actually developing. There's the European 0Z shows Oscar goes there on Friday. Might leave some very heavy rain in Canada, and then it shows more moisture in the Caribbean, but nothing developing. It has some random low pressure systems in the Atlantic. The Canadian model has like Oscar goes into Canada and eventually Europe, and then later it has like by October 31st. It does have a lot of moisture near South America and near Central America, but that doesn't have any compact systems. The 0Z Canadian had a tropical storm, so the 12Z doesn't, but the 0Z had a tropical storm there. And the GFS is still like a hurricane, shows goes there, forms into a hurricane on November 1st. Goes, this is insane, so don't trust this. This is absolutely crazy. This won't happen. But it does show a major hurricane passing Cuba and the Bahamas and heading to Bermuda. But that strength is too much. That won't happen like that. But we'll keep monitoring for any sort of development. There's the Neptune. It only goes out until the 30th, so we can't see much here. But generally, be careful. Be careful not stay monitoring those areas. But still nothing certain, but we'll keep monitoring. There's Tropical Storm Christy on the Eastern Pacific. It formed there out of the realms of Nadine. So still expect to become a major hurricane on the Eastern Pacific. So they now have as a major hurricane out there on the Eastern Pacific, but not hitting any land, just out there in the ocean. Maybe a small island or two nearby, but you generally pass south, so be aware. And the rain accumulation next 5 days shows more Nicaragua, northern Costa Rica, shows more than 120 millimeters, 123, close to 90 in eastern Nicaragua, but beware northern Costa Rica, southern Nicaragua, some flooding, and then shows still in northern Honduras and Belize, in Guatemala's more than 100 millimeters, maybe some heavier downpours there, northern Honduras, parts of Belize especially close to 100 millimeters, and parts of Guatemala. Still shows in Mexico close to 100 millimeters in some areas, and some more heavier downpours from time to time. A little bit of rain western Mexico and eastern Mexico and the Yucatan, but nothing crazy. Shows some rain in Jamaica, maybe some storms, but nothing crazy. Cuba there. Shows some storms in the Dominican Republic, some more showers there. Some rain in Puerto Rico too, but nothing crazy. Maybe some thunderstorms as well. Does show a little bit heavier, close to 60 to 70 millimeters in Trinidad and Tobago. So be aware, like especially eastern Trinidad and Tobago, more than 60 millimeters next 5 days. Northeastern Venezuela, be aware as well because of those tropical waves. And like Grenada, parts similar to the Grenadines, Barbados, might be some lighter showers there, but maybe a thunderstorm or two from time to time in the Lesser Antilles. So nothing crazy, but be aware. You can see the tropical wave approaching here. Some scary showers and storms in Guyana, Suriname, parts of Venezuela, especially after Friday, Thursday and Friday especially, and parts of Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean later on Friday. And those areas, Central America there, it has those waves of storms, so be aware in those areas. There's the GFS, shows more in Venezuela, Trinidad and Tobago as well, and Guyana, some rain in the Caribbean, more storms in northern Dominican Republic, parts of Jamaica, Puerto Rico. The GFS also has close to 90 to 100 millimeters near eastern Nicaragua and some islands there, so be aware. Costa Rica and Nicaragua. The icon has more along Central America too in some areas, so be aware there, but nothing that crazy.